So, good morning, students. I stepped out to leave for work this morning and my car won't start, and it's just been having a little trouble. So, I'm waiting for roadside assistance to come. Meanwhile, I do know that it is Monday, and while I'm waiting for them, I wanted to at least try to wrap up the conversation on denialism. Just to point out a couple more things within the article that you had to read. Denialism is not a barrier to acknowledging a common moral foundation. It is a barrier to acknowledging moral differences. An end to denialism is therefore a disturbing prospect, as it would involve these moral differences revealing themselves directly. But we need to start preparing for that eventuality, because denialism is starting to break down and not in a good way. So I want to suggest that this is probably speaking to the fact that denialism, while denial later on in the article is a good thing and it is at least consciousness that you have some difference with some type of truth, denialism is an action where you don't have to acknowledge the truth at all. So if you deny it, it doesn't exist. And that's not a good thing for society, because we don't work through things. We don't truly understand how to process something as a society. We don't afford ourselves the opportunity to get clearer information, get to better truth, and all of that. So that's one point I wanted to make about it. Flipping through, and you can read this piece for yourself, because the reality is that you need some kind of springboard, and that's basically what this conversation is. There is a section about empathy with denialists. It's not easy because it's just very difficult to post arguments with people who are totally in that space where they just totally want to reject something and not acknowledge that it's true. So that's the point. Denialism is in part a response to the vulnerability of denial. This is what I was just talking about. To be in denial is to know at some level. To be a denialist is to never have to know at all. Denialism is a systematic attempt to prevent challenge and acknowledgement. To suggest that there is nothing to acknowledge is what denialism is all about. Whereas denial is at least subject to the possibility of confrontation with reality, denialism can rarely be undermined by appeals to face the truth. People who are affectionate towards the concept of denialism don't want any truth. They want their perspective to survive, because then they won't have to deal with it. Because at the root of these things, it's about change, and people don't necessarily want to change, or whatever behavior they have. So, and then my final point, I think I want to make sure is, hold on. Okay, well, this is a backup. This is before that. They said a better approach to denialism is one of self-criticism. This is back to the behaviors of how we critically think. The starting point is a frank question. Why did we fail? Why have those of us who abhor denialism not succeeded in halting its onward march? And why have we as a species managed to turn our everyday capacity to deny into an organized attempt to undermine our collective ability to understand the world and change it for the better? Now, that statement was made prior to the one I just commented on about the limitations of denialism and what it requires, and what it requires for people who seek truth to deal with people who are in denial. But the bottom line is, this is again addressing the fact that we can't get rid of it, but we need to figure out how we're going to address it, because it is breaking down, as the suggestion, as the article was indicating. So as you write your paper, depending on whatever angle you are coming from, you're not necessarily writing your paper on this article. You are trying to answer the question, and this article is a springboard. You should do your own good research. A lot of you all are trying to write papers fast and without any kind of substance, and try to talk in general about things without real, true Examples. Valeria, you did a fabulous job with your comparative contrast paper. Robin, you did a great job as well. Those were the two papers that stuck out to me. There were substantive papers that people took some, they really dealt with the topic. They worked through, the language was intelligent, the share of ideas were substantive. When you want to talk about a topic, please don't go and talk about it on the level that everybody would know, or that historically we already know that certain things have happened. Get into and try to answer the question that's been posed to you. Okay, so that one is the one on denialism. The piece about the mobilization versus organization was just really looking from the campaign point of view. And the campaign point of view is that you have to understand how you're going to get your message out there, and then people to react, right? And to act upon your message, and in some cases vote for people. The question that I've asked is, to explain, well, the prompt that says explain mobilization, explain organization, and then which one of the two leads you to power. And that particular very quick read is addressing a model that takes you from organization and all of the work that goes into it. People get stuck there, and then the next place is mobilization. You want to think about movements, for example, the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matters. You even want to look at some of the ones that have been around for a long time. Maybe take a look at the civil rights movement. Maybe take a look at the marches, the Women's March, things like that, where you get people organized, but then how do you mobilize them, and how do you get them to get the response that you're looking for in a quick way? And I feel like some organizations stall at that place because it's hard work to get the people together, and it's a lot of work, and it's very specific work, but then you also have a message of mobilization. And so those are the things that I hope that you handle and at least try to give some perspective on in an essay that would analyze those two concepts together, and which one would be, which one is way more powerful and why it's powerful. That's going to be important. So those are the points I wanted to make about the readings. You were asked to pull 3 sources. One of them can be the reading if you're using it, but you want to pull some sources that really support what you're after in your writing. Please, I'm not, this goes into your portfolio, but there's a reason why I tell you to do the process, because some people feel like they could just write a paper and it's going to be good. And I'm sorry to say that I require a bit more than that, and I don't like for people to kind of just insult me with their writing. Please don't layer your writing with language, repetitive language, with language that really is convoluted. Use language, use diction that gets your point across as clearly and as effectively as possible. Read your paper again and again. Read it aloud to somebody. Listen to yourself. Walk away. And maybe stop. You can come and see me this week as soon as all of this is over to get support. I'm not there every day, but Friday, yes, the portfolio is due. I will be available tomorrow for a little bit of time. I'm typically not in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but because of this scenario, I'm going to make myself available mid-morning for a couple of hours. And you can get support that way, and you can go to the Writing Center as well. But, try to approach your things, your writing substantively. Follow the rules that I've asked you to follow to write the paper. It would just be nice to see that as a group. So that is that. There are papers that I have, and I will make them available either later today once I get to work, or tomorrow you can pick up your paper. I know that everybody isn't on campus tomorrow, but that's how it has to happen. I can't get there any other way. And so there is work to do on those papers. A lot of those papers didn't fulfill the 3.5-page requirement. And yes, I asked for 3.5 pages. So if you didn't meet that requirement, yes, you may have a grade on it and you can stick with that grade. But you have an opportunity. I wasn't going to give people an opportunity to rewrite papers because I feel like I have given people opportunities. And one of the comments was that people don't have time to rewrite a paper. So my thought is that if you don't want to, this is actually it's kind of generous to allow the rewrites. But if you really are not trying to rewrite a paper, then the first time you attempt it should be the time that you put the effort in. So me giving people opportunities to change their grade, I think is a great thing, and you don't have to take advantage of it, but please feel free to. The highest grade that a paper can receive for the effort that they put into it is a B at this point. So other than that, I hope you have a great morning. I am sorry for not being there, but I can't help it. So anyway, have a good day. Bye.